I'm very happy to hear your background. I also saw on your CV that you come from Midland State University. You've had some your undergrad, if not masters, from Midland State University, right?
Yes, so I did my undergraduate and my master's at the Midland State University in
Uh-huh.
Zimbabwe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yeah. So my research interests by that time, I was mainly interested in issues of representation,
Mm-hmm.
issues of identity,
Uh-huh.
issues of it's because I did I traced my background to the communication,
Yes, yes, yes.
communication department, communication, I did both I did
Uh-huh.
media and society studies
Mm-hmm.
for my undergraduate and media and society studies for
For
my
masters
masters.
as well. Oh, nice,
Yes, yeah, for
nice.
masters as well, yeah. And
Uh-huh.
my research during that period was mainly focusing on issues of identity and representation.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I had to say this because one of the things we always emphasize on this program is the importance of interdisciplinary approaches to learning and to research. Seeing somebody coming from a background of media and communication and then ends up in a doctoral program in higher education, it's something that is interesting. And I just want you to explain briefly to our audience, this is something that's going to be very helpful. How did you process, the idea of coming from media and communication to wanting to pursue a PhD that is in higher education?
Okay, so what happened is from the communication background, I came with the idea of social media because initially when I started the research, my focus was on social media, student activism. So I brought in that communication, that social media part, that digital space part, and the aspect of um, activism for democracy. If you look at in the communication or in the media fraternity, we are mainly concerned about issues of access to communication. We're concerned about voice, people having the voice, the issues of democracy, the space itself, representation. So I then decided to focus on social media and how it enabled or how it facilitates or how it is a space for the youth to communicate or to gain their capacity for voice and all that. But then what I wanted to bring here was their experiences and their voices, giving them the opportunity of a book which I then eventually managed to produce.
That's interesting.
So yeah, so I was bringing in that element of social media, which we normally focus on when you're dealing with in the communication field.
Field, yes, that's
Yes, yeah.
wonderful.
So and then I decided to contextualize it within the higher education space.
Space.
Yes, exactly. Given that the higher education space is normally um, in terms of its contribution to society, we are looking at producing graduates who are society oriented,
Yeah.
who will be able to participate in the in democratic spaces in society. So, I then decided to say, okay, so since I'm focusing on, I'm now moving into, or I'm now gravitating into the higher education space, why don't I take the social media part of it with me and then probably come up with something that
your book raises some very important themes that I would want to say have an interdisciplinary approach. If we talk of your book, we talk of themes of social justice. We talk of themes of education, obviously higher education. We talk of student activism. We talk of democracy itself. It's all these issues that you raise, that you discuss in the book, that makes it a book of interdisciplinary quality. I want to give you an opportunity to tell us what you consider to be the main arguments of the book and its central argument, and then afterwards we can have an engagement of some critical questions.
Okay, so in the book, the main argument in the book is mainly focusing on how I'm speaking about the need to provide conditions of possibility within the higher education space, or I can say the need to expand opportunities for the students, for the youth within the higher education space or within the higher education landscape to gain or to realize their capacity for voice, right? For them to be able to speak up for them to be able to participate and engage in dialogues, for them to be able to engage in conversations that enable them to express their views, which move towards the idea of human development. Because when you're speaking about human development, or when you're speaking about social justice, we are talking about conditions of possibilities, we are talking about opportunities, expansion of opportunities, expansion of political freedoms or political opportunities for people to speak up without any, sort of like negative feedback or negative, treatment or unfair treatment. So it's mainly focusing on the development. It's mainly looking at the argument. The main argument is we need to expand those opportunities for students, for the youth to speak up, gain and realize their capacity for voice, contribute towards the development discourse of the university space, and contribute towards the transformational change within the university space. That is what my book is mainly the main argument of my book, that we need to have these political opportunities for the students to speak up, for them to be able to air their views, and then for them to be able to engage in protest as well, without facing unfair treatment from the university. Yes. So this is what I'm mainly trying to put across, that, okay, in as much as the students, probably in some cases, for instance, when I was having interviews, when I was having conversations with the students, they would tell me that, when we try to engage with university management, they look down upon us. They think we do not understand or we do not know anything. So from that, you would actually tell that, okay, so the students are crying for their voices to be heard.
Yes.
Yes, the students are crying for their voices to be heard. They also want to be understood as people who are, or as credible knowers, or as credible tellers, people who have got, who can contribute to the discourse of transformational change within the university space and within the broader context of society. So the main idea or the main argument in the book is for the need to expand political opportunities or political freedoms for the students to speak up, and for them to be identified as credible tellers and as credible knowers as credible knowers as well. And then we are also speaking of conditions which enable them to speak. What I would go back to my other because I also drew on the ideas of Nancy Fraser and Mirinda Africa.
Oh, nice,
And
nice.
especially Mirinda Africa's idea of participatory parity, right? So we are speaking of having conditions of where students are able to speak up, right? Yes, level the playing field for them, so that they can be able to tell their stories, tell their experiences, share their ideas, share their experiences. So these are the main arguments in the book.
Of the book. That's nice. That's
Yes,
nice.
yeah.
And one thing that interested me, your focus is on the global south, but I also understand that your primary case study is South Africa.
Yes.
Wonderful. I just want you to comment a bit briefly on that, on your choice for a case study of South Africa and the global south.
Right. So the main reason why I chose to focus on the global south, particularly South Africa, is because if you look at the past years, the past decade, there was a resurgence in student activism where they were calling for issues of transformational change within the university space, looking at the decolonization, looking at the statute, looking at the access to higher education, looking at the issue of language itself. So you realize that, okay, in the 90s, there was also this issue of, student activism would be, there would be student activism, but it would not be more prominent. But then, between 2014 and, after 2014, it actually became prominent. And it is that, kind of prominence, and, given the historical background of South Africa itself as an apartheid, former apartheid country, I was mainly interested in understanding the experiences, the perspectives of these students, the current students, the students who are in higher education, understand their experiences, their struggles for justice, for transformational change within the university space, for democracy. So, and then we look at the global south now. The thing is, I was cognizant that I'm looking at South Africa, which is part of the global south. And then there will be issues of, okay, we've got many countries in the global south. Yes, we do have, but then I did to focus on South Africa as I thought, as I think it mirrors, what the experiences of other used in different, different contexts. So given that we are all in the global south, their need for voice, their cries for transformational change is something that the global south is still grappling with, especially for the youth in higher education spaces. So I then decided to focus on South Africa. I can say we can say it's more of a unique case given its historical background in terms of the apartheid government and how it actually designed a higher education space which had actually historically disadvantaged universities and which were mainly black universities and then historically advantaged or historically white universities and how we had other universities advancing the apartheid regime's agenda. So that's why I then decided to say, okay, let me then focus on South Africa and then get to understand, what the youth, what the students are experiencing, their experiences and their perspectives, what they think and how they think. So that was the main,
Yeah, that's interesting. I like South Africa particularly because we've been following also the news. We've heard about roads must fall. We've heard about fees must fall. We've also heard about decolonizing education, decolonizing, the language of instruction in the university space. So that's been some, very interesting themes. I interacted a lot with the work of Dr. Sabelo Gacheninlov.
Yes, exactly.
And, much of that work has been very interesting and inspiring in the fields of decolonization of knowledge production. So I really like that. So I want to discuss with you a bit of a literature review. I want to know